20 techniques that will make you an influential leader. Tip number 1. Lead by example. A good leader should set the example and the tone. Hypocrisy is not an option, so if you want your team to wear a tie, you do the same. Tip number 2. Don't try too hard to be liked. It's great to be liked, and being your fun self is a great idea for a leader. But don't try so hard to be liked that you say yes to everything. This won't win you respect, you will simply be taken advantage of. Tip number 3. Use silence to your advantage. To command respect, don't be afraid to let a silence sit. The best way to get a room of people to sit up and take notice is to stand quietly in the corner of the room, arms crossed. Tip number 4. Protect your team. Your job as leader is to protect your team. That means protecting them from your higher UPS, among other things. Tip number 5. Ask why your work isn't motivating. If someone isn't doing their best work, ask how you could fix that by changing the nature of the work. Tip number 6. Assign projects. Giving people control over an entire project shows you trust them, and makes the work more inherently motivating and engaging. Tip number 7. Take responsibility. The way you protect your team from superiors is by taking responsibility when things go wrong. Leadership is sacrifice. Tip number 8. Ensure that physical needs are met. Your team should be warm, comfortable, and safe. Tip number 9. Make your team feel valued. When someone does good work, demonstrate to them why that is so valuable. Tip number 10. Use the sandwich technique. When giving negative feedback, always sandwich it between 2 positive points. Tip number 11. Make instructions clear and precise. This is to remove the likelihood of error and confusion. Tip number 12. Don't play at business. Throwing meetings so you can feel like an important manager is a waste of time for everyone. Tip number 13. Use process Kaizen. This means making small changes to the way that processes are carried out, in order to make work go more quickly and efficiently. Tip number 14. Look the part. If you want to command respect in your office, then it is important that you look the part. Tip number 15. Speak more slowly. Talk slowly and you will sound more confident and intelligent, and what you say will be easier to understand. Tip number 16. Believe in what you are doing. This will come across in the way that you communicate, and it will help people to be more on board. Tip number 17. Stay calm in a crisis. In a crisis, a team will look to its leader to know how to act. Therefore, your response is extremely important and will set the tone for the group as a whole. Tip number 18. Use transformismo. Transformismo is a term coined by Mussolini that describes placing dissidents and potential rebels in positions of authority. Tip number 19. Don't micromanage. Let your team do the work they're paid to do, and afford them the creative freedom to feel rewarded doing it. Tip number 20. Remember, it's just work. Finally, remember that you are only the boss in the office, and your staff have more important things going on in their lives.